Scott Politakis, Polecast Media.
Today we have Anne-Marie on from LineJunk. Thank you for coming on it. So let's just jump right into it and tell me, let's start all over. Tell me about LineJunk.
Okay. LineJunk started in 2013. My background is graphic design and website design and marketing. And I was asked to design a t-shirt here, and I put it up on Facebook just on a whim, and it got some attention. And then I just started using my graphic design skills and started making t-shirts. And then people started asking for all types of things, and I just kind of made everything, and it just started snowballing. And then I was getting a feel for the community and the line community. My husband's a lineman. He's a jail out of Local 126. And LineJunk just kept getting bigger. And then I started noticing how many accidents there were in the industry, helping the guys on storm, getting supplies, pallets of bug spray, all types of stuff, waders. And so in 2015, I started a page on Facebook called Linemen Take a Stand for Safety. And basically it's just a counter of how many days we can go without an accident. I think the most we've ever gone is 31 days, and that's 10 years. So it's pretty brutal right now. As of the 10th of November, we're sitting at 50 injuries and 30 deceased. So we have an accident on average every 4 days. We lose a lineman every 10.4 days this year, which is a little bit more accidents this year than previous years. We usually sit at about every 13 days we have a death in the industry. And then from Linemen Take a Stand in 2018, I think it's 18, myself and a few other line wives created a nonprofit called Line Life Foundation. And we help the families after there's accidents. And these are just accidents that we hear about and verify, both for Line Life Foundation and Linemen Take a Stand. It's ones that I get information on, I verify. There's a lot of accidents that are swept under the rug. Line Life Foundation also was helping with the guys on storm, organizing laundry and food and stuff like that. Do that still, but not as much. There's another page that we own that Feed the Linemen, that the community comes together, and I mean, it's its own little beast, and it takes care of itself. So that's been great.
Yeah.
We do focus on the accidents. We make the phone calls to the wives and the moms and everybody else. It's hard. It's mentally hard on us, on them, but we're there for them and do what we can. The pandemic kind of put a little kink in the system. We have over 3,000 volunteers across the United States that help. All of us here are, well, all of nobody's here. It's just me, but the directors, we also volunteer. So when people donate, 100% goes to, there's no overhead, 100% goes to the families. And we do union and non-union. And our volunteers, we're probably going to get it going again. They used to go to the hospitals, take whatever the wife needs, because a lot of times she just drops whatever she's doing and rolls. We provide food and everything like that. So it's a pretty cool nonprofit. And then last year, I think it was last year, time flies. Last year I started Climb Back Up, which has to do with mental health in the industry. It was Climb Back Up for linemen. Now it's Climb Back Up for blue collar in general, and just little pointers on what to look for. There's a lot of mental stress in the industry due to the actual job, stuff from home. Unfortunately, the drug rate is high in the industry, and alcohol, of course, is in the industry. Our suicide rates, I don't have the numbers on it, but our suicide rates are getting higher. So I wanted to kind of focus and just have some pointers on what to look for and signs of something going on up here. I'm not a licensed therapist. I'm not a psychologist or anything like that, but I have a very big interest in the mental health. Hopefully in the future, I'm going to be a licensed therapist, because I mean, this is an issue across this trade and many other trades. And something needs to be done.
I agree. I agree. That's great that you're doing all this. So tell me a few things to look out for. So mental illness, what kind of things would kind of trigger someone to let them know that maybe somebody's having a problem out there?
Well, in this industry, the divorce rate is high. It's almost like a joke. If you don't have like 3 wives under your belt, like you're not the big guy. Um,
I
I
just have
believe in
2, so I'm not there yet, but I'm not a quitter.
I believe in this industry. There's a lot of I guess, lack of better terms, but the machoism. What I see a lot is because the LineJunk is worldwide. So I get a lot of messages from Canada, United Kingdom, other places, and like, what is going on over there? And we still have like this mentality, I think, here of like, I can do this, I can sleep 3 hours, I'm good.
A lot of
And
pride. A lot of pride.
yeah, yeah, and it's not working. And with the divorce end of it, if you're not like actually having presence in the present, what you're doing, you're working with high voltage. There's a lot of factors that come in around that. And if your head is not 100% in the game and you're thinking of last night's or this morning's fight that you had, it's dangerous. Like that kind of stuff. Like when you see a coworker or you hear them speaking or you see a coworker that's just not quite all there today, I think they should be given, a little bit of time. I mean, not as an excuse, but you need these guys on their game 100%, because they're coming in, they're doing something that's for a lot of the guys it's mundane at this point. So they're coming in and they're doing what they did yesterday, but they forgot to walk the line today, or they're not looking at the equipment and their head's not in it 100%. And I think that's becoming a huge issue. As a human, you can't handle it all, and you're more productive if you have 3 things to do, instead of I'm going to do 12 things today.
Mhm.
And you're not giving all your attention to like what you're actually should be doing. And the accidents, one of the big things is arguments that you see all the time across the pages, not just the ones that I run, but across the pages. It's the union versus non-union debate. And I actually just posted on this a couple weeks ago. But the non-union workers, they outnumber the union workers tenfold. There's a lot more non-union, so they've got a stronghold, obviously, on the work. And apples to apples, when you do like the percentages, it's about the same. Union accidents versus non-union accidents, there's not so many in the West this year. It's more on the East Coast. And we didn't really have the crazy thing is we've got these high numbers, but we really didn't have a storm season this year.
That wasn't a very big one. You're right.
Yeah, I mean, there was Jamaica. There wasn't a storm, so our numbers are super high, but there's no storms involved. So they, theoretically, they actually should be even higher because we do have accidents on storm. Um, and that debate it's crazy. You see the fights and join the union. Like nobody wants to join the union if they're coming, not them, but their members are coming in with a heavy hand. The other thing is the young guys like to blame the old guys. Like it's the old guys, and the old guys like to blame the young guys. And there's more young guys or more older guys that are having these accidents. The median age is like in the 30s. So that's really a non-issue either. It's not worth the fight. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's
So over my career, most of the time when you start getting complacent, right? You've been out there on the field. You're a journeyman lineman now. You've been a journeyman lineman for 4, 5, 6, 7 years. It seems like that you start getting more comfortable with
correct.
what you do every day, and losing focus, or losing that. This just takes that one time, just that one time for something not to be right, or and be alert. One of the biggest things, that I see a lot of guys say, just sign the books, right? Just sign the books. That's a big one.
Right.
everybody tells. So I'm an instructor at school. So the one thing that we do at the school is teach about hazards and risk and things are involved in every day that you're going to see just walking into day one on a line crew. I think those sort of things are important that people kind of know what they're getting into before they actually just step out there and start out as a groundman. Educating. I did see a post on yours the other day about how the safety individuals now they're just hiring people out of school. And as a lineman, I can tell you right now, I worked with several safety guys. Some of them you like, some of them you don't like. It really depends. This is horrible to say, but if a safety guy walks into a room full of journeyman linemen, he has about 2 minutes whether they're going to see through him and listen to him or dismiss him. You know,
Correct.
if he doesn't understand what's going on out there, he's not been on the line, his stories don't match up to what really happens out there, they're going to dismiss that guy.
Yeah, and that seems to be like there was a post the other day, and that's been an ongoing thing, like all the debates. But when you have a guy coming in that's used to like papers, he's got a suit on, the guys aren't taking, they're not taking them seriously. Like a lot of our retirees, they'll stay in the system and become safety instructors or,
Yes,
what
I
have
think
you,
that's very
training,
important.
which is
Very
awesome.
important. Yeah.
Yeah, like we have, we have a lot of guys retiring right now
Yeah.
and are looking forward to retirement and whatnot. And the guys will take somebody that's actually, lifted a tool or been up or climbed so much more seriously as opposed to this, a guy that's got a degree and whatever. And it goes the same for even like the engineering part of it. Like here's what we're building. I've never been out there in my life.
No.
Like
Right.
so some of the complications that come along, like the guys are like, this just isn't like going to work.
Yeah. 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 And then, I think there's a high rate of stress on some of the jobs now too. Push to get the jobs done quicker,
Correct.
which is bad anyway. Once you're trying to hurry and speed, then that's when I think, that you're going to see more accidents happen.
Right. Like the things that are being put on the plate are, some of these plates of these guys are just next to impossible. And like that boils down to the people that have never ever touched this or done this. Like it's possible. Sorry, it's possible in there, on paper it looks possible, but in the big picture, it's just not. So, there's that deadline, 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 deadline. And, the guys are pushing their crews
Hmm.
way too many hours trying to meet these deadlines. And it's the focus is lost. And like, I don't want to say the company doesn't care, but like what I see, I have the bird's eye view. I don't know how to do the work. I couldn't teach safety. I couldn't teach anything, but I have the bird's eye view and I read a lot of stuff. And that's like where the education comes of the work. All in all, like seeing these accidents and trying to wrap my head around it, other people trying to wrap their head around it, like getting on board, like what the hell's going on. It's hard to say, but they're just a number. There's an accident. The crew might have off the rest of the day, come back into work tomorrow. There's mental stuff going on there.
I've been in situations in line work where, something happened with an accident and it knocked the line out. Well, somebody's got to get those lights back on too. You know what I mean?
Correct.
You're
Correct.
sitting there dealing with this situation and somebody's got to get back in the bucket and
Right.
get the lights back on.
Right.
So, that's never good. That's never,
No. Because I mean, these guys, especially the ones that actually witnessed some of this stuff.
yes.
And, even we had a huge accident this past spring where there were 7 guys involved, 4 of them were deceased. And not soon after that, there was another accident and a bystander caught the whole entire thing on video, the whole entire thing. And I saw the video. I wouldn't share the video. If people asked for the video, I wouldn't give it to them because at the social media aspect of it, at the time that video was shot and when it went viral for a bit there, the mom was identifying the body and at the same time.
Yeah, that's tough.
So like that was heartbreaking, and people kept asking for it. And I wasn't sharing it. Like it was,
Yeah, well, I agree. It's a horrible way to find out something like that off of the internet, right? And instead of with somebody actually reaching out and having the time to talk to the deceased family. I do think that mental healthness is something, yeah, awareness, trying to get it out there. But like for me too, now I'm not out there anymore, so I
right,
don't really know what's going on every day because I'm not out there every day. So you tend to think, what is going on, but it's kind of been the same with our fatalities and everything. And it's just making to me, you gotta make that loop, and we talked about this before, like when I come home, I gotta make that circle. Now I'm a husband. Now I'm a father. All right. And as soon as that phone rings, I'm back in that truck. I need to automatically start thinking about the line work again.
correct.
I've seen lots of things like you said on Monday mornings, right? Somebody just forgot to hook the trailer pin up, lose a trailer on Monday morning, or something simple like that. It usually happens after the weekend, right? Especially if you're contracting a lot and you coming up after Thanksgiving, and been off a couple of days with your family, and they come back in, and then that's got to get your head straight that first day back. Make sure you're mentally aware, you're back in the game of the thing, and it's so hard to make that adjustment a lot of times when you are having going on in the house. I was foreman for a lot of years, and I've seen that with the younger generation, having to cope with things. I don't know. I guess because I was an older school lineman and brought up with older school linemen, they just told you to suck it up, buttercup, be tough, kind
Right.
of thing. And so you kind of your compassion is kind of low. Uh,
Yeah. And the
you know,
men, like in general, I mean, it's becoming more, not popular, but there's more awareness now. Like the men back in the day, like if you cried, you were a
yes,
pussy. Like you men are
absolutely.
told not to cry and to
Yeah.
suck it up. And I'm on Line Wife pages and like I read a lot of stuff, and it is definitely a lifestyle. This is a lifestyle. And I know with me, like I try to do everything I can to support my husband, not through LineJunk or anything like that. That's actually caused more pain in the relationship than anything else because a lot of stuff I hear first or I get first or the name precedes him and stuff like that. But the more I can do at home with, raising the kids, like sometimes that, we feel like we're single parents. That's definitely a thing in the trade with them going on storm or we're handling everything. And
So you actually have a page to kind of help with the newer lineman wives as well.
not my page. There's a Line Wife page. There's a few Line Wife pages out there where there's thousands of us and we support each other. But us older line wives or more seasoned line wives, when we see the new ones come in or they're getting engaged, like you're in for a treat. This isn't fun. It's a lot of work, and it's mentally there. There's a mental toll on the women. Like we can't. If I talk to my husband maybe once a day, maybe
Right.
sometimes it's once a week for 30 seconds on the phone, like, and that's it. And you can't be TikToking and Snapchatting and all the other social media things. And if you don't hear from your husband, that's actually a good thing in the trade, that that he's okay and nothing's happened. And when the storm comes and things like that, like I have a storm list on LineJunk and like helping pack. I don't do that so much anymore because he packs his own stuff. But taking care of the bills, the food, like grocery shopping, cooking, all that, and the children and the house itself. That's on the wife pretty much. When he comes home, I let him decompress in the garage for a hot minute so that he can come in the door and have, I wouldn't say a clear mind, but a clearer mind. You never know what's going on at work. You never know what they're dealing with. So you never know what's walking through the door either. Um,
And sometimes, he doesn't want to talk about that, right? He just
yeah,
wants to.
and that, and like I said, like with LineJunk and stuff, I know, um, I don't really talk about how my day went, because it's once he comes in, he's been out there, he doesn't want to hear about more line stuff. So, that's been an interesting battle, but
Yeah, so we were like a lot of times when, when the older you got in the trade, and so every now and then you get to go to lunch, right? And so you're lunch guys, and then they just want to talk about line work, and you're like, man, can we just not talk about line work for 30 minutes? But some of them it's just it's right. It's a lifestyle. It's a way of life.
we try to keep it separate. They I mean, this is my gig. He really doesn't have anything to do with it, and we do try to keep it very, very separate. And just like as a new line wife in general, and that's where you see the divorce rates. Like
Mm.
as a
Yes,
woman, you have to be a fighter. You can't just be like, "Oh, I give up," and walk away, and like even I mean, I do everything it's part of my job really as the role of a wife and a mother, and to do everything I possibly can, like I said, like paying the bills, weed whacking, washing the cars, all the bullshit that nobody wants to do,
exactly.
like we about 6.5 years ago, and the other day he's like, I don't think I've ever turned on our dishwasher, and I'm like, you're right. You know what I mean? And it's, coming home and then loading them with other tasks to do. I mean, they do stuff, but like loading and having one more worry, like taking the load off, like that's part of being a line wife. It's tiring.
I imagine it is. Uh, a lot of times we don't have time to think about that. We know that you're back home doing everything you got to do, but when you're out there on the line, you're just more focused on the task at hand, trying to get the
Right,
job
right. And
done.
you can't like I try my best, and I mean I've been in the mental health part of it now for quite a bit. My daughter is graduating with her master's with psychology. My youngest is headed that direction too. So I took on like reading and educating myself so that I always had a talking point with my daughters as they're going through the schooling and stuff like that. And it's so interesting for me that now I'm like, let's see what it takes to be a therapist or whatnot. So getting into that area of it, I watch my P's and Q's. I'm like, I don't want to trigger him, especially at work. I know, like, I'm not going to text or, if the text comes in first, I'll reply, but I'm not going to text like, you didn't do this or you did, blah, 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 blah. I'm not going
Yeah,
to, it's
yeah,
because you can't. And, you know, the other, your partner has to start understanding that, like, those triggers, they can kill them, and I mean, we've had guys on the line that have committed suicide in front of their crew on the line and used that as their ticket out of here. And we actually just recently had an attempted one, and he actually survived. We've had a few of those, and you not only destroying basically your family, and not just your core family, but the grandmoms and everything like that. But now
yeah.
doing it in front of the crew is
That's just bad.
is not cool either.
Yeah, that's not good. Yeah, yeah. So I don't think I've ever been around a scenario where I'd heard about somebody actually. I guess I have heard about it, but I'd never in a scenario where I've seen it. But just taking so much stress to take your life, and it's like I always thought if I'm glad it never did happen to me, but if I was to get severely injured, I always thought that maybe I would just want to die, 'cause I wouldn't want to be a burden on any part of my family. If I don't have any arms, you know what I mean? That means somebody has to pretty much take care of me for a while
Yeah,
till
and
I get
I actually
prosthetic.
had a great opportunity, and I brought my youngest with me. I actually went twice to see a gentleman talk who was in an accident during COVID. When COVID was starting, he was in an accident. His wife was pregnant, and he ended up losing both arms. And he spoke, and you could hear a pin drop in that room.
Yeah.
his wife spoke. I believe they have 3 children now, but he lost both of his arms. He's back at he's doing line work again. Amazingly, it was an amazing story of faith, really believing and hope. And when she spoke and what she had to do for him, and the avenues that they took and the resources they used to turn around and actually go back into line work. I mean, it's just it's amazing. And that's with the Limelight Foundation. I forgot to mention too, a lot of our volunteers, they're line wide, they're all actually women. We don't want the men worrying about who they're feeding or what's and all that kind of stuff. But they've been victims of, I guess you could call it, of their husband's been in an accident, they've lost their husband, they've come back and volunteered for us. They believe in what we're doing. And we've had widows write about wound care. So we have that on our website, what to expect. We had another widow write about, basically get your shit together. You should have we have a life insurance person on our website. Get your life, these are papers you need, have all this stuff, because the risk is so high. And what we see a lot is the women aren't prepared. They're not on the deed of the house. They're not this, they're not that. They have no idea where to find the information that you need when something happens,
Yes.
and they're struggling. And we decided to put all that on the website. So print it out, have a folder, you know what to do. It's one step you don't have to think about when something does happen.
For you to be able to do that and to help people, because I can imagine, at that point when you get that phone call, right, being on the other side of it. I like to show when I'm instructing, I'll show videos of some stuff. There's a great one, nothing short of a miracle. He actually wasn't a lineman, but he got a grain cart into the line, and it shows the whole story of what all his family went through, and everything. So I like for students to watch those kind of videos. I think those are important because it makes them recognize, really, this could happen to me, and this is what my family's going to go through. Just some awareness, if you love your family, you don't want to put your family through that. Nobody wants to get hurt on the job, but just some awareness to think of more, take care of yourself a little better, guys.
Right. And it's not just the mental, it was a huge gym rat for the longest time. Being physically fit, now, if I have to decide whether I can meditate or go to the gym, if I only have, a certain amount of time, I choose meditation 100%. Because if you don't have your mind right, nothing else works. It's
Yeah.
not gonna work for you. Just being in the right state of mind as much as possible. And every day, when you get up, be grateful that you got up. You got to put your 2 feet on that floor and wake back up. And even that in the morning, getting up and saying, "Oh God, I got to go to work." That sets the tone for the rest of your day. If you can look around and see that they're to be grateful, and have empathy, get to know your crew. I think that's lacking also in the industry. Having events with the companies or the halls or something like that, where you get to know your crew. The family is invited. You now have put a face to the wife, the children, and it's not just a crew member anymore. That's a human being to you, and you're not just a number. And that, I mean, that just getting awareness out there in general of certain items. And even I've seen more and more now. I have a lot of the public that follows LineJunk. Altogether across social media, there's probably about 1 million, which isn't a ton of people, but it's a lot. And I see it on like the line wives do a lot too. It's actually funny. We try to shut them up, but when when there's a storm or whatnot, or the power's out, and they're on their community pages, like, oh my God. And people are like, I saw these guys at Wawa, or I saw these guys at wherever they were eating, and like my power's out and they shouldn't be eating. And, trying to nicely say, like, I was one of those people way back in the day too. I thought it was just a switch
Yeah.
and you turn it back on. But,
Yeah.
getting slowly, nicely getting the public to know that these are guys, it's too windy, they can't go up. They're waiting for supplies. They're waiting for, the power to actually be cut all the way so that they can perform the work, so that you guys can get the now generation. They have zero patience. They want their power, back on. I mean, there was one a couple years ago. The lady said, "What am I?" I'm in Pennsylvania, so we have all the seasons, and it was a winter storm. What am I going to do with all the stuff in my freezer? What am I going to do with all the stuff in my fridge? And I just wrote, put it
Put it
outside.
outside.
Like it's not that difficult. And around our area, we do lose power often, like with the trees and whatnot, and the storms and stuff. But like the people that are buying generators, and they're hooking them up wrong, and they're backfeeding, and the widow makers is what they're called, like
Yeah.
trying to school people on how to do it correctly, or be careful, don't just plug it in. Slowly but surely that, especially the line wives, they're, oh my God, somebody stop me from going off on these people, and just educating the people. There's more people now that know what linemen are, that they don't care. They're not just carrying a football lineman. There's
There's
other
a lot more
kinds.
of us out there nowadays, you know, more that is actually going into the trade. When I first started, it was just mainly utilities, and contractors were far and few between. The IBW was always there. They got most of the contract work, West, I remember. But now there's so many non-contract companies that have started, and the utilities and things have gotten to where they use the contractors, to do
Right.
most of the work. So they just keep the lights on, pretty much.
Right.
Any infrastructure coming in, they build, and then most of it goes off to the contractors first. So you have that. You have a training deal there, right? So I don't want to bash anybody, but if you say that you come up as a journeyman lineman and a utility, and then you go in the contract, and it's going to be quite a bit of a difference
Right. Right.
for you. The workload is way different than what it was for utility. You're driven. You have to be faster. They require you to, be more productive. It's where a lot of your small utilities, especially, take time, guys, be safe. It's okay, until those lights go out. And then it seems like, that then there's a push, right?
Right.
Nobody will ever say that there's a push, right? They don't mention the push, but there's always a push. And then if you ask them, they'll be like, oh, safety's number one. Safety's number one. I don't know. I mean,
Yeah, like, is it really? Like, that seems to be like another debate. Like, is it really safety first? There's, I go to some safety meetings and whatnot, and it's it's strange because like they'll have a safety meeting, but like the guys there aren't the guys that are out there doing the work. They're
yeah.
being, they're being told to these
Safety
guys, pass
meetings,
it on to
okay,
these
so
guys, to pass
production
it on to
meeting,
these
yeah,
guys.
it turns into a production meeting, or how the company's doing meeting. Well, let's talk about safety for a minute.
Right. Don't forget safety. Yeah. Yeah. So and I know that these, the guys have meetings, especially Monday mornings and stuff like that, that, the crews get together every morning and, plan what they're trying to get done today. Here's what we need to do and stuff like that. And I get that, but it's, some of the safety stuff is going to the wrong crowd. Definitely.
Yeah, it really depends. I don't know. Like I said, I haven't been out there in a while, but I would think more of your foreman, and the safety pushes more on him now to watch his crew, train more safety, and then it's hard.
And a lot of the foremen don't belong in the foreman positions.
It's
That's
that.
an issue too. Like I can say this stuff, but like I mean, it's true. I see that over and over. That person is not qualified to be a foreman, and here he is because
Yeah.
you get
And,
the foreman.
sometimes there's a problem that journeyman lineman doesn't want to be a foreman, right? The guy that's been a journeyman lineman for 20 years, he doesn't want to be a foreman.
Right. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
how we need to be a foreman,
Right.
right? So they end up pushing somebody. I was always told before I was a foreman, when I was a journeyman lineman, you don't need to be a foreman until you actually see some bad things go wrong. You know what I mean? Once you see bad stuff go wrong, then you know it. You've seen it. And then you're going to take more precautions as a foreman to make sure that those bad things don't happen. If you don't ever see them, then that's never going to happen to me, right? And you got that mentality. That's never going to happen to me. That's not going to happen to my crew. And then it does happen, you
And you
know?
see a lot of foremen that are like, they become a foreman and they're like, nah, I don't want to do this.
hmm
And you see, I mean, if you're 22, 23, I mean, you really don't have that much experience. Like you just popped out of training. You don't have any business being a foreman yourself. And, we're seeing a lot more of that. And it's almost like you really couldn't cut it as a lineman. So we'll make you a foreman because you're really great at computer work.
Those who work do, those who don't get promoted. I've always said that.
Right, like, and like that, that's an issue,
It
definitely.
is. And I think it's because they can take them, the company can, and they'll do what they tell them. They're yes men for the company now.
Correct, correct. And there's a lot, and that's an issue too. There's a lot of, especially like I can say, union guys are a little bit more protected, but the non-union guys, there's so many yes men and ass kissers. Like, I mean, their noses are brown constantly. They will not stand up for themselves. They won't say something's not right here, something's not clicking, like that guy's not right, or the equipment's not right. They're afraid, you know, being built to be a macho man, but then being afraid to step up and say anything because they're job scared or whatever, or they don't want to be labeled as like, oh, that guy said it, blah, 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 the bullying and stuff like that. But there's a lot of that going on where people should step up and speak, no
Yeah.
matter what that consequence is. If it can save a person, if it can,
Shut it down.
like we really shouldn't be doing that. That's a shortcut. Talk. Don't be scared. Don't be afraid. Like just talk. Just say something.
hmm I agree. Communicate. Communicate. And I think, the younger it's one of the things I tell students, right? As soon as you get a job, don't go buy that $80,000 truck.
Right.
You already go buy a big $350,000 house. You buy an $80,000 truck. Now you have this pressure that you have to have your job
And we've
because
had
you have to pay for these
suicides with
things.
that. I mean, we've had suicides with that. I see it with the line wife pages. Like, these guys, they go out on storm. The line wives are like, oh, I'm getting a new purse. Oh, I'm getting a new ring. I'm getting a new this, that, and the other goddamn thing. And and then you see like, 2 months down the road, they're like, we can't pay our electric bill. The money management and the bling is, it's off. Like as a rule, especially in this trade, because you don't know about the layoffs, you cannot rely on storms. All that stuff, all the money comes in during storms. We didn't have a storm season this year, so now what?
Right.
And there's been suicides because of that, because the guys, I can't say it's the guys, it's the women too, it's the family, but like we're going to go buy that big damn house, we're going to go get a new truck, we're going to go buy a boat, we're going to do this, we're going to do that.
Don't do
And
that.
then it's, oh my God, how are we supposed to pay for this? There hasn't been a storm, that
The
in reality, if
That's not making you happy. I try to tell them, like, why does that make you happy to go buy this
correct,
nice truck and this nice
so
boat? And then now you're
especially
dealing with the stress, like you said, when there's no storms. How do I pay with this? That's not happiness at
right.
all.
Right. And it's the material stuff, and it's a quick dopamine fix, and then it's like going to the next level, like okay, well, now I got to find the other wrong that makes me happy for 2 seconds. But as a general rule, and I know I know it's possible. And like us older seasoned blind wives, like you should, when there's a storm, live like you did the prior 2 weeks before. That extra money, set it aside, and you should have 3 months, 6 months would be awesome. A year would be awesome. Of if something happens, whether it's an accident or it's layoff or whatnot, that you can still go on living off of your savings. Stick that into a interest bearing account, collect interest, free money, and you know
And
be able to.
on the line worker side, right of it, I tell the students this all the time. So what if I am in that unsafe situation, right? And I know I have this nest egg money. I can what we call drag up, you know, and be okay. I'm
Correct.
going to be able to find another job in a week or two. I'm not living paycheck to paycheck. When you're living paycheck to paycheck and doing line work, that's stress already. I gotta go on this next hitch. I gotta do this. I gotta do that. I need to go to Storm. We got bills to pay. Wife wants a new blah, 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 whatever. So you're setting yourself up for stress.
Right, stress, and at some point you're going to fail, and like that's like I talk to union, I talk to non-union, and I still push the union. There's a lot of stuff on my website about like becoming union or joining the apprenticeship or whatnot. They a lot of people just look at the bottom line, like this union guy gets paid more than this non-union guy gets $2 more an hour than this union guy, but they don't take into account the tons of benefits
Absolutely.
and that come along with being the union. I mean, it's if a lineman makes X amount of money an hour, I did the math a while ago, but it's actually almost double with
Mhm.
what is being. They're not buying their own FR. They're not buying this. They're not buying that, and you have to take the big picture into account. The pension alone. We're not paying into health benefits. Yes, there's union dues, but
Mhm.
they're freaking minimal if you
Yeah, let's see.
think about the big picture.
If you
And
talk
you
about
can drag up. You see something, you don't like it, you can drag up and freaking leave if you want to. We're in Pennsylvania. Um, you know, there's so many families that travel across the United States, get to see the beautiful country and go state to state and sign the books and get a job. They hang out there for a while, and move on. And that, like, there are so many more benefits and the non-union people are like, well, you never see your husband or this, that, and the other thing. It's even that, like overall, my husband was away for a little bit working, and I'd go visit, take the kids, go visit.
Yeah.
But it, for the most part, we've been lucky. He's been home. Like we have a rule of like how far he can travel without staying there, because if you're in the just traveling back and forth, if it's like 2 hours one way, that's tops for me. Like, because you've got that. I mean, you're hitting fatigue, and then it's getting up and doing it again the next day and over. It's stupid. And they're we've been in this years now, and there's only been a number of times where, like, not including Storm, where he's gone for weeks or whatnot, and it's all right. You make it through.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I think some things, I was definitely anything we can do to help get the awareness out there with your sites or anything. Well, to help do that. Everything you do is great. I think.
Thank
It's
you.
awesome. Plus, you're a line wife on top of it, right? Hopefully, you're getting to the tail end. You should be almost empty nester, getting
Yeah.
close anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I've got, one daughter, she's been out for a hot minute. Like she went to college, she's getting her master's, and yeah, it's retirement is closer than like I keep telling my husband, like it's not that far away, like, and like sometimes like we get burnt out. And
Absolutely.
yeah, I listen to podcasts every once in a while, and it's like you have to take that break, go travel, go do something. So
Yes.
I've been trying to focus on that, even if it's just a weekend away, or we're gonna go take the boat. Like we have a boat, and let's go take the boat, down to the Chesapeake Bay or whatnot. Just do it,
Yeah.
and just we've been given one life, and I mean, you still have to work. There's still that, the mundane and blah blah blah. We all have to get up and do our thing, but at the end of the day, just be grateful that you got to put your head on that pillow, and in the morning be grateful that you can wake back up, and you know just just be good humans. Like, just be a good human. And
Yeah.
it's not about being the best or being that or being that and
Make good
this and
decisions.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what are y'all doing for Thanksgiving?
I'm actually we have Thanksgiving here every year. And this year I wanted to just like change it up a little bit.
Mhm.
So we will be I've told the people at my table's always open. Once in a while we'll have another lineman here or whatnot. And this year I'm asking everybody to come in themed. Um
Yeah.
and so we had some people that were like, the hell no, I'm not coming. I was like, that's fine. Like, this is a positive thing, and just bringing a little bit of fun instead of just staring at each other.
Yeah.
And another thing I did, I think we have about 10 or 11 people that will be here. And I went and got little grabbers, those little sticks
Oh,
with
yeah.
grab
Yeah.
handles. And I have brownie mix, and we have 11 of those hand grabbers, and we're going to break it up, and they have to make brownies
With the
only
grab.
using the grabbers, from the egg to everything. So
Well, you gotta put that online, Junk. That's
yeah,
gonna be
just
hilarious.
something. I just wanted something different this year and make it fun, instead of
Yeah.
like, okay, everybody, let's go
The
home.
traditional Thanksgiving dinner, right?
Like let's eat turkey, let's eat pie. Okay, we're done. Go home. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Sounds like fun. Sounds like fun.
Something different.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, how many years has your husband been doing the line work?
Phew.
How
I've
much?
been. I started LineJunk in 20. We've been thinking about this actually, because he just got his pin from the union. And I've been doing this since 2013. So this is like 13 years for me. So he's in there. He's We
13.
always try to figure out like what he must. I think he got his 20-year pin.
Okay.
I should know that because it's sitting on my mantle.
Yeah. So, is he a foreman now, or is he still just a JL?
No, he's a foreman, like a lot of the linemen with the toll it takes on their body. He's had his knee replaced and all that good stuff.
Kind
So
of
yeah,
shoulder.
that's what it seems to be. So it's shoulders, neck, knees, back, always an issue. I have to
Arthritis.
go to the chiropractor all the time, because I believe in that method of, fixing yourself from the inside out instead of popping a pill. So yeah, like I feel for you guys. I haven't climbed a pole in my life, but like I did have the equipment, and I was gonna give it a whirl, but I'm also very afraid of heights. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I was like, yeah, no, I'm gonna
Yeah.
skip this part. I've been in a bucket, and that scared the shit out of me. But
Yeah, did it? Yeah, I
yeah, I
can
was
get
like,
bucket
ooh.
truck rides out. The students, that's one of the hardest things, the heights. I get a lot up when they first start. So we just have methods to get them through it, the heights and everything. But the kids are my job being an instructor is really quite simple, compared to what line work was. The Harley, I climb to teach them how to climb. And then it's very little bucket work because it's all climbing school. And it's more just point, and they're in a situation every day where it's hard for them to get hurt, because not actually, nothing's energized, nothing's,
Right,
not,
right.
they're just not going to be exposed to anything like you are out in the real field. We do like a simulated storm training. That's probably the most dangerous thing that they do when I actually tear up the line, call it Hurricane Scott. And so, but it's 4 days a week, and it's easy on the body, easy on
Right.
the whole. So I don't know if he's probably just gonna, a lot of linemen say, when are you gonna retire? I don't know, when I'm pushing up daisies. So it's great that he does have a plan. He does have a task to get out, and you guys gonna get to retire and enjoy your lives. So I think that's important. Most IBEW linemen I know are the wealthiest linemen because of what you said, the benefits and the way everything up. They have a nice retirement. They have a nice pension.
Right. And
You
they
know,
and
and they have their
they
401ks.
they start early. Like the best time to get in is when you are done high
Absolutely.
school, and
Oh,
if you play your
they're gonna
cards
match
right,
3%. Put
right,
3% in the day you start.
right, like play your cards right. Don't be stupid with shit, and and things come with time, and then I actually don't have I I've been working since I was 13, so I don't have retirement in my future because I can't imagine my life like not doing something. And
Uh,
I know that the business itself is sellable, but the heart and what's in my head, I can't give that to anybody. So I if it was about selling a t-shirt, I would have quit in 2014. So now it's, I care, and my heart's, partially in it. I mean, the rest of it goes to the family, but yeah, I got like it's part of me now. So I want to continue and keep continuing. And I have a lot of conversations with people. And last week I had a conversation, and um, it was, if it was about a t-shirt, I would have quit a long time ago. But I've done my job. I've made an impact, I know, in more than one person's life,
yeah.
and that that was my job. That's how I feel it is. And if I can continue to make an impact, I get a lot of slack. I get a lot of hate. I do. But for every hater, there's 10 more people saying, keep going, keep doing what you're doing. You're making a goddamn difference.
Yeah.
And to me, that's what it's about now, is just having some sort of a positive impact. And I don't read a lot of the comments. I don't read anymore because it would keep me up at night
I
and
try to stay
whatnot.
away from them as well.
It's
It's
you
just,
can't make everybody happy.
yeah, you really got nothing better to do but just to say something bad about somebody else.
Yeah, yeah, and you're just bringing somebody down, and I don't get it right every time. Like, who does? But I can't make everybody. There's a lot of people following. There's no way in hell I can make everybody happy.
Sure.
And that, like, at the end of the day, um, I have to be happy. Like, I can only control myself, and
Hmm.
they're gonna hate. I don't care. I really don't care.
Right. Yeah, that's good. When it comes to Dallas, we'll put you on the pole. They're only 5 foot tall. I get a lot of slack for that. They're like, you're only 5 foot in the air.
Yeah, I'm only like 5'2". I keep shrinking, so that'll be perfect. It won't like I'll do any roller coaster. I have a need for speed. Like a Ferris wheel, you'll never see me like nope. It's too slow.
Dude,
It's too high. If it's going down fast and I have no chance of survival, I'm on that. But
that's
anything
right.
where I'm gonna hit like every rung as I go fall, I'm like, nope, I'm not doing it.
That's what I always tell students, right? You got to be a thrill seeker of some sort to do line work. We're
Yeah,
not really
right.
wired right.
My husband, he was afraid of heights. He got through it. He's
Mhm.
like, I was definitely afraid of heights. And I'm like, yeah. And honestly, like if I would have known about this industry when I was younger, and like knowing what I know now, I would have signed up for it. Like
Yeah, we have girls that come to the
it's pretty
school.
cool. It's pretty cool. And some of the girls are badass.
Hmm.
And
I've had some way better than the boys.
Yeah,
They have a bad attitude, and they're way smarter. You
right,
see in
they're
the
going toe
classroom
to
and
toe with
everything,
these guys,
they
and they're
take
into that
they take it real
macho
serious.
attitude. And there's a few of the women that I'm like, oh my god, but like for the most part, so these women they're badass.
Yeah. I worked with a girl's apprentice when I was in San Patricio, and we were out on the storm one night, and it was water chest deep. And we're wading through this water, and she's with me, and she keeps shining the light, and it's me like, put the light on where I'm looking at, and everything. She keeps shining like, I'm like, what are you shining that light for? Why are you not over here? And she says, I'm looking for gators. I'm like, carry on. You're doing a fine job. You didn't even think about no gators being out there with us.
We're by nature we're
You're doing a fine
multitaskers.
job.
We think of everything that's around us, and so yeah, she was a good one for the crew.
Yeah. Yeah. I imagine she's still working. She was pretty good when she climbed poles very well. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
No, so it's, all right. Well, I'm gonna let you go once again. If you'll get out this way, holler at us. We get up
I
that way, we
appreciate
may
it.
holler at y'all. So thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
All right, bye. Have a
Bye.
good happy Thanksgiving. Good luck
Yeah,
when it brownies.
Merry Christmas.
You too. Merry Christmas.
Bye.
Bye.
Scott Politakis, Polecast Media.